Got some good stuff today. I have too much to cover. We're going to be running like our pants are on fire today. So good stuff. There's so much good stuff in this class. It's hard choosing what I can fit into a class period. It's like, man, I wish we could just meet 5 days a week and go through all this stuff that I have because there's so much good stuff. But I've pared it down to just like one day's class. I hope I can get through all this in one class. But still figuring that out. How much can we actually cover in a class? We're figuring that out. Figuring that out. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. We'll get started pretty quickly here. Get your cameras on. Cameras on, ready to roll. I've got an activity. We're going to stand up some today. Stand up. Oh, stretch. We got a little. So hopefully you got a little room to step forward or backward there a little bit in your space. I'm gonna get you standing up today during class just to do something a little different. I may even stand with you. I'm doing my standing desk here that I'm excited about. All right. Come on in. I'm going to go ahead and put our question of the day up here. So you can start putting your guesses in the chat. There you go. Question of the day. What percent of teens have opened a bank account? Isabel's jumping right out there. She's got her guess in right away. Put it in the chat. Whatever you think. What percent of teens are question of the day? 70. Our guesses are getting smaller. 70, 65, 50. You may answer this kind of based on whether you have an account. If you have an account, maybe you think a lot of people do. If you don't, maybe you don't think a lot of people do. I had a bank account when I was like 7 years old. I got like $27 for my birthday, and I went and opened a kid's savings account at the bank when I was like 7 years old. I took a picture of the money. I remember taking my camera. Of course, then I had to have film developed before I got the picture back. But took the camera, took a picture of the money. Maybe it was $28. I think it was 5 5s and 3 1s. I think it was $28, and that was my first bank account. I don't have it anymore, but I had it, and it'd make a few pennies in interest every month, So, all right, I'm seeing lots of good guesses here. I'm seeing as high as look like 70%, as low as 21%. All right, as you're coming into class, get your guess out there. What percent of teens? I'm about to give the answer. We got a lot to cover today, folks. But I got stuff we're going to cover today that we're gonna stand up and get out of our seats a little bit today, even. And Brandon's going to throw a 60 out there. I'll tell you, there's a couple of you that are really, really close, really, really close. So I'm going to put the answer up here. The answer is 49%. I had two guesses of 50 there. So congratulations. You were within 1%. So right at half of teenagers have opened a bank account of some kind, checking account, savings account, money market account. No, probably not. Probably maybe. But yeah, so about half. So that's an interesting thing. Let's talk about that. So do you have a bank account? Who's got a bank account? I have a bank account. I used to have two. I only have one right now. Isabella's got one. Okay. Yep. Do you have a bank account? What are the benefits of opening a bank account as a young person? Good question. Well, probably starting to learn how the process works. And you can earn a little bit of interest if it's like a savings account. You got a little money and you're like, I'm not going to spend it anytime soon. I'll just put it in the bank and let it gain a little bit of interest. For what a reason young people might decide not to open a bank. I'm not sure. Tell me why you not, other than, well, I don't have any money, so I don't have to save anything if you don't have any money. But if you got some money sitting around, why would you not open a bank account? I don't know the answer to that. That's why I'm asking. Don't know how. There's a great answer, Breland. Yeah, I wouldn't know the first thing. I don't know how to do it. Uh, you invest in another place. Okay, that's a good answer. Lack of funds. Okay, I don't have a whole lot of money to put in the bank. So and most banks there is a minimum to start an account. Isabel said not being educated enough for it or don't have the money for it. Okay, good ones. What do you need to open a bank account if you're under the age of 18? Well, you might need a parent to come along with you because under 18, technically you can't, do business like sign a contract to have an account or anything official like that. So you probably need a parent for under 18. You need some money generally and some identification. You do need, usually there's a minimum amount to open an account. Like some accounts, if you have $50, you open an account. Some accounts you may need $300 because it's a different kind of account. So you need some money. You do need some identification. So they make sure that who you are is who you say you are. So that way, no one's scamming, trying to steal someone else's money at a bank. So, okay, good stuff there. All right, let's look at what we're doing today. We're going to be learning. First, we're going to talk off. Last week, we talked about cognitive biases. So, we're going to spend a little time on that this morning uh, to define some more and explain how they can influence our decisions, look at signs of that, and explore some steps to overcome that, because that was a good topic we were on last week. And also, we're going to look at checking accounts, explain what it's used for, various components of a bank statement, understand ways you can deposit and withdraw funds, the pros and cons of a checking account, like at a credit union versus a bank. And we're going to understand what the FDIC insurance is for. So we're going to learn some good stuff. So I got a little cartoon here, a little Peanuts cartoon from many moons ago. Uh, Here's Linus and Lucy. Why are you always so anxious to criticize me? She said, I just think I have a knack for seeing other people's faults. Well, what about your own faults? Well, I also have a knack for overlooking them. Love it. In your own words, explain the main message of this cartoon. People are really quick to point out what's wrong with other folks, right? But usually you're not able to do that with themselves. Like, oh, yeah, I can tell you everything that's wrong with you. Uh, Fortunately, I don't have anything wrong with me, so that makes it easier for me to point out what's wrong with you. We're really good at seeing things wrong with other folks, but can't see things wrong with ourselves, which kind of contributes to this whole cognitive bias thing, right? How you think it relates to our abilities. We may not see the biases we have on bad decisions we make with money. People are judgy. Keith said that's a good way of saying it. People are judgy. We are judgy. People are judgy. It's easy. Oh man, why'd you buy that? That was stupid. You wasted your money. What? What? Me? No, I don't waste my money. Yeah, we all waste our money in different ways. So that's kind of what that's pointing out is. We can see where other people waste, but we do it too. We do it too. All right, let's see. What is my activity I've got to? Oh, this is an interesting. So we are we've been talking about cognitive biases. I want to see if we can do kind of a matching thing here. And this is not going to be real easy because I can only have so much space on the screen. See, if we were in a classroom, I'd print these out and you could sit there and match them up. But we've got the blue stuff on the left side, the D, deck one, that's the definitions, right? That's the definition of the term. The middle column is scenarios. It's like, here's a little story. And then the right is the name of the bias. So we want to match up the name with the definition with the little story, with the scenario. So let's take a look at them and see. If you see a match, put it in the chat. And I put numbers on them. I hope you can see them. This is D1. Oh gosh. Nope, don't do that. D1 is up here. This is S1. This is B1. B1 for the bias names. So you can say like D1 matches S3, which matches B2. You can put all those three on there and say, now I don't think they do. I just picked those out of there. So let's take a look at some of these and see if we can figure it out. We could probably figure out fear of missing out because we talked about that one a lot last week. So which one of these definitions would match fear of missing out. See, treating losses is much more important than simple size gains. Again, I hope you can see these. I know it's really small. Searching for evidence that supports what you already believe while ignoring contradictory evidence. Returning to a baseline of happiness after positive and negative experiences. Making a correct decision based on resources are invested. How are we doing? Fear of missing out. Uh, Feeling anxious that an exciting event may be happening elsewhere, triggered by social media. Hey, I think we found something. It's, it's like perspective and culture alike needs want some financial decisions and products that might not be the culture and environment makes you think what everyone needs. All right, look at that. So let me get this out where it stays on the screen. So I'm going to say fear of missing out goes with this one right here. Anxious that some exciting event is happening. So D5 with B1 and Isabel says B1. I think it's B1. Yep, and which is fear of missing out. Now, which one of these scenarios, which one of these S's is going to go with fear of missing out? Doubt in their decision to take a gap year. Most of our plan their 10 to 4 year to travel. Spurgeon expensive meal. Oh, Braylon's saying S3. Blake wants to join Friends of the Concert, but he hadn't saved enough. He's tempted to take a personal loan for the tickets. Oh, I think that's right. Yeah, right there. Those go together. Everybody's going to the concert with me, man. Maybe I should just, put on a credit card, borrow the money. Ah, good one. All right, let's see. What else can we choose? Let's pick one of these others. Sunk cost fallacy. Let's see if I got another color I could do for this. Here we go. Let's do sunk cost. So which one of the definitions is sunk cost? Being too confident in your own ability, conforming to the behaviors and beliefs of people around you, putting more value in something because you already own it or imagine owning it. That could be tied into that. Let's see what else we got. Making correct decisions based on resources already invested. Oh, wait. What about D4? D4 for sunk cost. Making a correct decision based on resources already invested. I've already spent this. I think that would be it. We've already spent money on it. So my current decision is based on the fact that I've already put money in here. So which one of these scenarios would that be? Let's see. Doubting her decision, take a gap year. Because no, I don't think so. No problem, Jennifer. You're back. We're good. Oh, what do you think of S2? You think it's S2? Grace splurges on an expensive meal, but the food isn't very good. She still feels compelled to finish it because she's already paid for it. Yeah, that's going to be the sunk cost. That's going to be the sunk cost right there. All right, let's do a couple more. I don't think we have time to do all of these because there's a lot. How about herd mentality down at the bottom? Herd mentality might be an interesting one. Let's see what I can color I can pick for that. Let's do like this blue, I guess. Blue. So let's do herd mentality. May not be good on the definition. All right, which definition is that going to be? D7? Conforming to the behaviors and beliefs of people around you. Yeah, that certainly seems right. Yeah, D7. A lot of folks saying that. Okay. Are we playing Battleship? Not yet. But you could probably do that at the same time and see how that ends up. That could be interesting. All right, let's see. Oh, S7. Someone said S7. Social media group that encourages investing in trending stocks. He sees these performing well, wants to invest in stocks been mentioned recently. That's a possibility. Let's put a question mark on that. Because he sees everyone else doing that. Anything else in there? Oh, maybe this top one as well too. All of her classmates are going to go to a 4-year university. She's like, maybe I shouldn't take a year off to go travel before college. I think both of those have strong possibilities. The strong. Hmm. All right, I'm not sure. It could be either one of those. I think you can make an argument for either one of those. How about? Oh, let's do this one. Loss aversion. A loss aversion. I'll do it. I got another color here. I got a yellow color. Loss aversion. I think loss aversion is going to be right here, right next door to it, right there on S6. Loss aversion, because Daniel hears the stock market crash stories and decides investing is too risky to try at all. He could invest in the stock market, in some kind of a fund, but he says, "Oh, but I hear people lose money on there, so I'm not going to do it." Loss aversion. He's afraid of losing money. Oh, that's it. So which definition is that going to go with there? But that is the right one. D1 right off the bat. Oh yeah, treating losses is much more important than similar size gains. It's like, yeah, I could make money in the stock market, but I could also lose money. Yeah, that's it. Being too afraid of losing anything to where you don't actually invest and gain stuff. So that can be very detrimental. You have to kind of balance that and know that, yeah, but if you stay in the stock market, any losses you have should come back. That's what it gets to. Anyway, there's a lot of good stuff there. You have access to this, so you can come back and try to figure all those out later. That works for you, but we need to move on. I got a lot to cover today, but good stuff. Um, Learn it. Let's talk about this. Understanding and overcoming them. This is good. Let's talk about how you can recognize different biases. So here's an infographic: signs of cognitive bias. Let me click on this and put that on the screen. Here's things that help you identify that you got this cognitive bias. Only tuning in to news and stories that confirm your opinions. Yeah, I don't want to hear anything opinion that doesn't agree with mine. That's definitely a bias. I don't even tell me if you don't agree with me. Just be quiet, which is not a good way to be. Attributing other people's success to luck. So maybe your friend get this really cool car because they've been working this job for 2 years. And they saved up this money, bought this car, and said, "Oh man, they're lucky." You hear people like that. Anytime anything good happens to anyone else, oh, they're lucky. Well, maybe they planned. Maybe they worked. It wasn't just luck. Here's a good one. Constantly blaming others if things don't go your way. Oh man, see what you done? I didn't get that now. See what you did? Oh, that's a good one. And I see people do all these. How about this one? Oh yeah. How about this one? Assuming that you are always correct. Yeah. Maybe you should just do what I do. Or assuming that everyone else shares the same opinions or beliefs. Oh, why'd they do that? That's stupid. Everyone knows not to do that. No, a lot of your opinions are not shared by everybody. If we pulled that topic out and everybody shared their opinion on any topic, we would find people that agree differently depending on what the topic is. So understanding, you have to recognize they happen. Another thing is, here's an article, and we're just going to hit parts of this because this article could take up 15 minutes of class. 10 tips to overcoming cognitive biases. So we're going to skip straight to the tips because it talks a lot about different things on there. All right, cognitive bias. Great article, though. Really good stuff here if you want to come back and read this later. Cognitive bias versus unconscious bias. So the cognitive bias is bias you have, unconscious, how to overcome them. So it talks what is cognitive bias, what is unconscious bias, types of these. Here's some examples. Confirmation bias. This is where you only look for information that confirms what you already believe. And you ignore anything that's contrary to what you believe, right? Yeah, everyone should do this. Here, let me look up some sites. This shows you why you should do this. And you ignore all the sites that say why you shouldn't do that because you have a confirmation bias. You just want to confirm what you already believe. You don't want to find something different. anchoring bias, in-group bias, fundamental attribution error, hindsight bias. You perceive events as more predictable after they happen. Oh yeah, anyone could have come in. What do you think, Isabella?
I see this a lot in debates where people don't actually read the statistics clearly, especially towards
Oh,
like violent crimes, and
yeah,
they get very confused with it and they're like, this group does that, and I'm like, did you look at like the subtext beside it?
nice. Yep, yep. Confirmation bias there. Yep, I love it. Consensus bias, the false consensus effect. It's when you overestimate how similar your beliefs are to other people. Everybody thinks this way. Well, maybe not. Affinity bias, conformity bias, gender bias, authority bias, name bias, distance bias, nonverbal bias, all kinds of good stuff. It says gender bias is when you either favor someone or you think less of them because they're gender. For an example, you seek out a man to help you hang some decoration, even though there's a woman nearby. It's like you think a man can do that better. And you may not be thinking about that. But, oh, he's taller. He can probably do this. That's a gender bias. Here's things that help you know, do I have these biases? Do I only turn in those outlets? Do I always assume I'm correct? It's like that thing we were looking at. The psychological explanation. Here's the 10 things how to overcome that. It can be a form of sexism as well, Keith. Absolutely. Number one, be aware. You gotta you gotta see when you are making a decision based on your bias. Oh yeah, I guess I wasn't thinking right there. I was, you know, if you don't know you have a bias, you'll never be able to overcome it where it's not making your decisions for you. Be aware. Consider the current factors that may be influencing your decision. Yeah, why do you want to go to the concert? I never even heard you listen to that band. Oh, well, yeah, I guess that's true, but all my friends are going, so I thought I should buy a ticket. If you don't even like that band, why are you going? Reflect on the past. Look at the patterns. Oh, I've done this a few times before, and then it didn't turn out so good. Be curious. What are the options? What am I? Is there another option? You bet, Cheyenne. Is there another option I'm not even paying attention to? Strive for a growth mindset. Hey, I want to get better. Identify what makes you uncomfortable. And you make a decision because the other decision makes you uncomfortable, even though it's probably the better thing to do. Embrace the opposite. Oh, embrace the opposite. Just say, okay, what if I just did the other thing? What would happen? Seek multiple perspectives. Love it. Look for disconfirming evidence. Oh, is there a good reason not to do this? I haven't even paid any attention to that. Is there a good reason? Practice intellectual humility. Realize that, okay, maybe I'm making the wrong mistake. Maybe I don't know everything. Yeah, good stuff. So, how to overcome those. So, that's a good article there. So, if you want to go back and dig into that, it is right here on our presentation. So, in finance, we're talking about overcoming cognitive biases because that's what, Jerome is checking his bank account and he's shocked to see that his account balance is $2. He's only got $2 left in the bank. He starts to get frustrated with his parents since they stopped giving him a weekly allowance due to his excessive spending habits. Every time they give him an allowance, he just go spend it on just junk, just crap stuff, So they stopped giving him an allowance. Which of the following signs of cognitive bias from this story do you recognize? Has he got A, B, C, D, or E? Which one of those is he is affecting his thinking? All right, Breeden's got an answer out there. What do you think? Which one of those is affecting his thinking? Yeah, what's he doing? He's blaming his parents. He's blowing all of his money. He's only got $2 in the bank. He's mad at his parents because they didn't give him more. Dude, it's not your parents' fault. You spend your money as fast as you get it. Absolutely. Overcoming the biases is we have to recognize when we're doing this. Why do you think awareness of cognitive bias is the first step? First step in anything, right? If you want to fix something, you have to understand it's broken. If you're making bad financial decisions, if you're not aware of why you're making those decisions, how are you ever going to change? If you're not aware, you can't fix a problem in hand. That's true about anything, finances or anything. Absolutely correct, Isabella. You have to understand what's going on or what's going on wrong in order to make it right. Great, great, great. Let's see. Let's just pick one, and then we're going to move on to checking accounts. Let's just pick one. Choose one of these biases, and that's a link to that same article. Let's see if we can come up with one strategy to overcome that. So pick one. Is there one you like better than any other one there? The one you already got an idea of how to fix it. Loss aversion, like, oh, I'm not going to invest because I might lose. Some kind of herd mentality, like the overconfidence. You ever thought of overconfidence as a bias? Oh, dude, I'm going to buy that because I know I can fix it up and I can sell it and make money. Can you? Do you really have the ability to? Have you looked to see, are people paying more for those if they're in better shape? How can we fix one of these? Anyone got a thought on that? Oh, what you got, Isabella?
I am currently going through something that is like trying to becoming more self-aware with my well-being.
Okay.
And by doing that, I like found that having people I trust and feel safe around, even like if it's financially speaking, if you trust your business partner, you're going to be more likely to hear them out on problems than you would a stranger, you know?
Okay. That's a good point. And yeah, we can use that financially and in other areas of our life, is having someone that you trust that you can bounce ideas off of. That kind of helps overcome the overconfidence. Not thinking I know everything, but going and asking other people what they think, to where that way you can kind of think through things. Okay, maybe I didn't understand that as well as I thought I did, or maybe I don't know everything about that. They know a lot more about that. So that kind of does the overcomes, and that helps with confirmation bias as well. I'm not just talking to people who agree with me and are going to tell me exactly what I already think. I'm asking people that might have a different opinion and might help me think differently about this. Ah, we kind of tackled two of them with that same great thinking there, Isabella. All right. Let me get this next thing. Like I said, I don't want to run out of time because I got a lot of good stuff to cover today. We're going to talk about checking accounts now, because at some point you're going to want a checking account. Several of you probably already have checking accounts. If you have a job, you probably have a checking account somewhere where you put your money in. That way you can have a debit card or a check and you go, to spend the money out of there. So we're going to do this activity, and we're going to stand up for this. This is cool. So I'm going to stand up right here. Oh, that feels good to get out of the chair. All right, standing up. And you need to have room to step forward and step backwards. Just have room to step forward and backwards as we do. So this chance to get out of your chair. Let's gotta get all of the stretch and everything. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put a transaction on the screen. Here's something that we're doing with our checking account. If you think that that's going to make your checking balance higher, like there's more money in the bank, then take a step forward, right? If whatever I put on the screen means there's going to be less money in your bank account, then take a step backwards because I've got less money now. If you think that it will not affect your checking account, just stay where you're at. Don't move at all. So we got it. We're forward if we think it's going to increase the amount of money in our checking account. The balance is higher. Backwards if we think it's going to decrease. There's going to be less money in my checking account. We're just thinking about our checking account. All right, here we go. Here's our first one. You use your debit card at a restaurant drive-through. You went to the drive-through, you got you a burger. Forward or backward? Is that going to mean there's going to be more money in your account or less money in your account? Which way? Stand up, Keith. Move around. Let's get this a little stretching here. If you use your debit card, that would be a backward step because you just took money out of your checking account. That's a backward step. All right, so if you didn't step back, now you can go back to where you were. You don't have to stay backwards because if we have 2 or 3 in a row, you'll be in the other room. Okay. If you use your debit card, that takes money out of your checking account. Here's another one. You get paid. You got a job. The employer direct deposits your paycheck. They don't give you a check to go cash. They put it right in the bank for you. So if they put money in the bank for you, does your account go up or does your account go down? Forward, backwards, or it doesn't affect your checking account at all? That's going to be forward because, yes, now you got more money in your checking account because the deposit goes straight in there, and now you got more money. All right, how about this? You've got your own apartment. You've moved out of your folks, and you write a check and give it to your landlord to pay your monthly rent. Here's my rent. What has happened? Did your bank account go up? Did your bank balance go down? Because you wrote a check. Oh, I see people getting smaller on the screen. People taking a step backwards. Yeah, if you write a check for anything, that means your bank balance is going down because some of your money is coming out and going to them. Perfect. How about this? Your friend buys something for you. He said, I'll repay you from Venmo. So you have a balance in your Venmo. You open up your app and say, oh, good. I've got like $30 on my Venmo. Here, I'll pay you that $10 I owe you. What happens to your checking account? Does your checking account go up? Does your checking account go down? Does it affect your checking account at all? If it's your Venmo balance, that is entirely separate. If you've got money, somebody's already paid you $30 in Venmo, so you open up Venmo and there's $30 sitting there. Your bank account does not move in that situation. Now, if your Venmo is empty and you get it tied to your checking account and you pay somebody, yeah, it'll pull it out of your checking account to pay it through Venmo. But if you have a balance in your Venmo where somebody's already given you money, that will not affect your checking account. That is separate money. It's a money in a different pocket. All right, how about this? You auto bill pay from your bank account for your Netflix streaming. Like your Netflix bill's due, and they just automatically, your bank just already pays it for you. You don't have to write a check. You don't have to pull out your debit card. They just automatically pull it from your bank account. Obviously, that's going to be a step back, right? They're taking money out of our bank balance is going down. How about your cell phone bill using your credit card? I didn't say debit card. I said your credit card. Cell phone bills due. You pull out a Visa because you went and got a credit card and you pay your phone bill with your credit card. How does that affect your bank balance? Did your checking account go up? Did your checking account go down? Ooh, hopefully you didn't move because your credit card bill went up, how much you owe the credit card, but it didn't affect your checking account. All right, Andrew. So your credit card, now when you have to pay your credit card later in the month, that's when your checking account is going to go down. But right now, when you just pay this with your credit card, it has not affected your account yet. How about when we pay that credit card bill? Just mentioned that. That's a step backwards. And hopefully you pay it in full. We'll get to a lesson about credit cards. Backwards. Oh, here's a good one. You transfer, you got 2 accounts. You got a savings account and a checking account now. So you got 2 different balances. And you transfer $35 from your savings account into your checking account. Is that forward? Is that backwards? Is it in the middle? If we're just talking about your checking account balance, then that's a forward, right? It should go up $35. Now your savings account is going to go down $35. So you got the same amount of money. The amount of money you have hasn't changed. It's just you put it in a different pocket. Oh, here's a good one. Oh, what do you think here? So you went and bought this shirt and you used your debit card, right? Which is attached to your checking account. So you went and bought this shirt. And then you get it home and, oh, it doesn't fit. I thought it was going to fit. It doesn't fit. So I'm taking it back to the store and say, I need to return this. It doesn't fit. What happens to your checking account balance? Anything? Most of the time, if you used a debit card, they're not going to hand you cash back. They're not going to give you a gift card. They're going to say, all right, I'm going to credit this back to your debit card that you used to pay for this. So your balance should go up. That should be a step forward because they put the money back in your checking account that was taken out. Let's see. I got another one here. I'm getting close to the end of these. I got a few more. Okay. Oh, grandma gave you a check for your birthday. Thanks, grandma. And you open up your banking app and it has a mobile deposit. A lot of checking accounts do that now. You can take a picture of the check, attach it to this, and deposit it, mobile deposit. Or the Google Slides up for taking notes. If these aren't up yet, I'll have them up. I'll get them posted. If you deposit that, it should automatically go in your checking account when you do a mobile deposit on your app. Oh, here's one you need to know. How about if you stop at an ATM? Right? Love those ATMs, man. I need to get me $20 in cash. You go in there, you put your debit card in there, you ask for $20. What happens to your checking account balance? Does it go up? Does it go down? You just went to an ATM machine. That's just like going to the bank and saying, hey, I would like $20 out of my bank account. Your balance is going down. Backwards. I'm liking this standing up, man. It's sitting down already. How about when you transfer $60 from your checking to your savings? Hey, I've got extra money in my checking account. I don't really need to buy anything. I'm going to go ahead and move my savings account because my savings account earns more interest. B, so you think it doesn't do any movement at all? Or you think it's back? Back, B for back, right? Transfer $60 from your checking account balance will go down $60. Now your savings account goes up $60, so you still have the same amount of money. Again, you just took it out of this pocket and you put it in this pocket. How about you've got one of those Walmart gift cards? So you go to Walmart and you buy a tank of gas and you use that gift card. How's that affect your credit card balance? I mean, your checking account balance. How's that affect your checking account balance? If you've got a Walmart gift card or any kind of prepaid card, it doesn't affect your checking balance at all. Nothing. Because you didn't spend it out of your checking. You had already this like just as good as cash. You got this prepaid card, good as cash. How about this? You go back to school shopping for some clothes online. I'm on this website. Oh, now I'm ready to buy this. I'm over here at Lululemon and I'm buying this online. They're going to ship it to me. And I enter my debit card number on the website. Hit purchase. Your debit card is tied to your checking. So I hope you took a step back. When you use your debit card, it takes the money right out of your checking account. All right. Good job, guys. Good job. All right. We have a video I'm going to show here. How banks create money. And you're like, what? Do banks create money? Kind of. This is cool. Let me click on this and I got to change where you can hear it because it's going to. Got to move it over here to the right screen. All that good stuff. Okay. This will teach you how banks work and how they operate and how they make money and all that kind of good stuff. All right, let me present how banks create money. Perfect. There we go.
Hey, you ever wonder what happens to the money you deposit at your bank? And why are they willing to pay you interest when they have to do all the hard work of keeping your money safe? Now, what if I told you the banks are artificially creating money every day? All that and more in today's episode of 5 Minute Finance. Let's start with the basics. You deposit your money at the bank and they give you a small amount of interest. Then, They take that money and lend it to people and businesses while charging a much higher interest rate. The difference between the interest they charge on their loans and the interest they pay you is the profit that the bank makes. This is why banks are willing to pay you interest for your deposits. In order to lend more and make more money, banks need to attract more money from deposits because deposits create loans. But aren't the banks supposed to be keeping your money safe somewhere so that you can take out your money when you need it? Well, sort of. Banks have a unique system called fractional reserve banking, which basically says that only a fraction of deposits, usually around 10%, need to be held in cash and they can loan out the rest. This amount is set by the Federal Reserve and acts as a cushion for when customers want to withdraw cash from their account. Now here's where the money-making magic comes in. Let's say you deposit $10,000 into your savings account. If the reserve requirement is 10%, the banks must keep $1,000 and can lend $9,000 out to another customer. Now, you have $10,000 in your account, another customer has $9,000 in cash, and suddenly, your $10,000 deposit turned into $19,000 worth of money. Then, that other customer deposits their $9,000 at their bank, which again holds onto 10% of it and lends out the rest, and so on and so on. You see where this is going. This is how banks increase the money supply, otherwise known as the total amount of money in circulation, without increasing the amount of physical cash moving around. Wait, hold up. Earlier, I said that deposits create loans. Banks need to attract more money from deposits because deposits create loans. But when our bank lent $9,000 to a customer, who then deposited the cash, that created a $9,000 deposit. So isn't it more correct to say that loans create deposits? You might think that the fractional reserve requirement limits how much money a bank can lend, but the reality is that these requirements do very little to limit banks from lending. In fact, many major banks typically create loans first, then deal with the reserve requirements afterwards by getting new deposits or borrowing money from other banks at a low interest rate. So what really keeps bankers from abusing this system of constantly creating new loans to make more money? Well, the first limitation is profitability. When a bank makes a loan, they aren't just thinking about the interest they charge on the loan. They must also consider the costs of running the bank and the potential losses they face if a borrower is unable to repay. The other major limit on bank lending is capital requirements. Put simply, capital requirements are the amount of capital a bank must hold relative to its total lending. Capital can be thought of as the amount of profits that must be kept within the bank instead of distributed to shareholders. With these limits in place, most banks should be relatively safe from failing, but if you're worried about losing the money you deposited at your local bank, fear not. Most banks these days are insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC. The FDIC is a government organization that insures up to $250,000 of your deposits so that your money is safe. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment below about what you'd like to learn about next. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more finance videos.
Okay, so the big thing to know on that, especially, I mean, it's interesting how if you take $5,000 down and put it in the bank, your $5,000 is not sitting in the bank. They've probably taken your money and they've turned around and loaned it to somebody else. And you go, but wait a minute, I gave you $5,000. You should have my $5,000. And if you want your $5,000 back, you can go get it because they'll take from money that other people have given them. So it's like they don't really just have this big vault full of everyone's money. That's what the point is. It's not a big vault full of everyone's money. They have some money. So if like some of us want to go take all of our money out, they've got enough to cover that. If everyone want to take their money out, that's when it becomes a banking crisis. Everybody's a run on. Oh, everyone's scared and starts pulling all their money out. That's when we got a big problem because banks don't have that much money. It's interesting to think about. But yeah, banks don't have everything that you gave them. They just have a portion of that. But again, if there's a big problem and suddenly the bank doesn't have the money, that FDIC thing, that's the important thing. FDIC means the federal government promises if this bank went out of business, you'll get your money back up to $250,000. So it just tells you if you have more than $250,000, which I don't know that any of us have that sitting around in cash, but if you ever get to that point in your life where you've got more than $250,000 in the bank, you should have it in multiple banks because a bank goes out of business, you're going to get $250,000 max. If you have $5 million in that bank, all you're getting is $250,000. So that's why people have multiple banks that they use if they start accumulating a lot of money, because you're only guaranteed for $250,000, which is normally enough for most everyone. But you just got to be aware of that if you get to that point. All right, let's go back to our slides. Navigating your checking account. We're going to talk about deposits and withdrawals. Checking accounts are a great option for storing your money for day-to-day use and short term. I got paid this week. I'm not gonna spend anything until the weekend. Next weekend I want some of that money, but I don't want to just keep it in a drawer. If I lose some cash, my little brother sneaks in and steals it. So let's look at this. Checking accounts, how you can access your money. That's good to know. So let me move this over here. We can see it. How can you access money? How banking has changed over time. So it's really changed a lot. And a lot of its technology has allowed that. Like if we go back 1550, I don't know if that's supposed to be 1550 or 1950, but I bet it's supposed to be 1950. Paper checks. That's how you spent money. You took your money to the bank, you put it in a check account, and you had these checks that the bank gave you, and you wrote checks to people. And so when anyone received this check, they can take it down to the bank and they say, hey, this person gave me this check. And the bank said, oh, yes, okay, yes, they have an account here and I will give you some of their money because they wrote this check and signed it saying, pay this person some of my money. In 1951 was the first credit cards. 1951, the first credit cards. So basically, a credit card is issued by some bank, maybe your own bank, but it's not necessarily tied to your current money, right? This is like a loan, a little card that says, loan me this much money. So when you get a credit card, like maybe you got a credit card from Capital One, you see them advertise all the time on TV. Capital One is a bank, and they'll give you a credit card and you'll have a limit. It'll say $2,500, which basically means I'm giving you a loan of $2,500. You can spend it as you want to. So you don't go out and spend $2,500 today, hopefully, but you may go buy some clothes and okay, I just spent $120. Then you'll go buy a meal at a restaurant for another $25. And at the end of the month, they'll send you a statement and say, okay, you've borrowed this much money. Here, you owe $330. But you only have to pay us back $28 this month. Credit cards are real happy to let you just pay a little bit because they're charging you like 28% interest on your money. So for every $100 you borrow, they're going to charge you $28 over a year. Like if you don't pay it back in a year. So, but each month I'm going to charge you 1/12 of that. So if you owed $1,000 in the month, and I'm like, oh wow, so that's $280. I can order 1/12 of that, so 20 some odd bucks in interest this month, and then they'll only require you to pay like $28, and $20 of that's interest. So you really only paid $8 out of that money you owed because the rest of it went for interest that month. And then you're going to go charge another $100 this month, and now your balance is going to be even bigger, and they're going to charge you a big chunk of money, but most of it's going to be interest, and you'll pay $10 on what you owe. And you'll sit there and watch, and your account will get higher and higher to where suddenly you owe a lot of money. It's like, man, how did that happen? Credit cards. 1960 is when they had tellers, so that you could actually go in and get money with the teller, deal with that. ATM came out in 1967. Debit cards in the 70s start coming out to where it's like a credit card, but the money immediately comes out of your checking account. So that way you can't really overspend. If I've only got $800 in the bank, I can't go spend $1,000 because there's not $1,000 on that debit card. ACH transfer. That's where automated clearinghouse. That's where if I want to say, hey, every month, can you send $500 to my landlord? I'm going to set this up in my bank where this automatically, they will transfer money from my bank account to his account to pay my rent. Cool. That started in 1972. Online banking in 1994 when the internet started becoming a thing. Well, I don't have to go to my bank. I can get online and do whatever I need with my bank right now. I can pay bills. I can ask them, to pay bills for me, and I can take loans out, and I can do all kinds of stuff online. Wire transfers, where they can electronically transfer from me to my daughter. If I need to send her money, I can do that as a wire transfer. 1995 is when they started online bill payments. 2008, contactless payments with the little chips where you just got to touch your debit card or something. Mobile deposits started in 2009, where I can just take a picture of the check, and that counts just like giving them the check. And in 2009, mobile apps started being a big thing, where I've actually got an app for my bank. Here's my Arvest account. I can open up my Arvest app, and all that kind of good stuff. Get money into your account. You can bring it to the bank, make a deposit. You can deposit a check. You can go to an ATM and take some cash and put it in your bank account. You can deposit a mobile, taking a picture of a check. You can have a direct deposit where your employer can just put money in your bank account. He doesn't have to give you a check and you got to sign it and you got to take it to the bank and you got to deposit. No, he'll just put it straight in your bank for you. Or you can transfer from another account, right? I got a savings account, checking account, I'm going to transfer. That's ways that you can get money into your account. Get money out of my account, I can go to an ATM. I can visit a bank teller. I can go to the bank and say, I'd like to withdraw some money, please. I can make a purchase with my debit card, credit card. I can write a check, give you a check and buy something. I can do an online bill payment. Hey, let me just send money to the electric company. Or I can do a money transfer from this account to that account. So that's ways to get money in, ways to get money out. For most people, a checking account is their first experience in the world of personal finance. That's what you find most of the time. It's easy for daily transactions and keeps your money safe. Can't be stolen. And usually checking accounts include debit cards nowadays, so you don't have to write checks and go to ATMs. So the rule of thumb, keep only what you need in your checking account. If you got $1,000 and I don't spend $1,000 a month, I only spend like $50 a month, I just keep that in there. Then you should open up a savings account, because you don't really get interest on a checking account. There's lots of checking accounts you get zero interest, and if you do get any interest, it's just a little bit. Like you might have $20,000 in the bank, and you'll get like $1.15 in interest for the month. It's like, that's really nothing. If you put in a savings account, then maybe you'll get $100 in interest for your $20,000 in there or something. So if you want to make money on money that you're not using, you need to have a savings account, because they will pay you more interest on a savings account. Checking accounts, you don't really earn any interest. So that's why you only want to keep in your checking account what you're needing to spend regularly. You can pull money out of a savings account, but not more than like twice a month or 3 times a month, or they charge you a penalty, because it's meant to just stay there and gain savings. So what's the difference between checking and savings? Checking accounts are for now. I'm going to be spending money this month. I'm going to be spending money. Savings, I won't need that money for 6 months. With checking account, you usually there are like no fee checking accounts, which means you're not going to get interest and and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the fancier checking accounts where you may get a little interest, there'd be like a monthly fee. Like you got to pay $12 a month to have a checking account so that they can process your checks and pay people. Savings accounts usually do not have fees, or very few if they do, because they're paying you interest, because they want your money so they can loan it to other people. So they want you to have a savings account that you don't want your money back very often. Maybe once a year you pull some out to do something special, but that's what they want. Minimal or no interest, like I said, on the checking account. Savings accounts do pay you interest, so that's where you want your money when you're not using it. And generally on checking accounts, there's no limit, right? You can write 100 checks that month as long as you got the money to cover them. But in a savings account, if you do more than 2 or 3 transactions, usually in a month's time, they'll charge you a penalty. Hey, $25 penalty. You did too many transactions, because savings accounts are not supposed to be for day-to-day spending all the time. That's money that the bank wants to know is going to be there so they can loan it. Checking accounts, that's where you have the debit card, your checks, direct deposit, overdraft, ATM, all that kind of good stuff. With savings account, you can have direct deposit. You can have your employer put your money right in your savings account. Oftentimes you can pull money out of there from the ATM, and you can do online and mobile banking. But again, remember, if you do too much, you'll get a fee because you're doing more than a couple of transactions on that. So important questions to ask. Oh, this is great. When you open a checking account, is there a required minimum balance? We were talking about that earlier. You maybe don't know what to do. Sometimes, okay, you can open this checking account as long as you have $50. You can't open an account with $5, usually, right? Is there a minimum balance? Is there a fee to open a checking account? Maybe you got to pay a fee up front so they can give you some checks or for some reason. Usually not very much. Are there any overdraft fees? That could be important. If you only got $50 in your bank and you write a check for $60, they're going to fine you like $30. Oh, we were having to pay out money that you didn't have. You didn't have that. And they may reject that $60 and say, sorry, you can't have the $60 because there's not $60 in the account. And then they'll turn around and charge you for trying to spend money you didn't have. Overdraft fees. Ask, is online banking an option? Do you have online banking? Yes, they'll say, here's our app. Is there a fee to transfer money? Some banks, some accounts, depending on the account, if you transfer money out of this, there's going to be a fee. And what are my daily spending limits? Some accounts may have a limit. You can't spend more than $800 a day. We lock it at that point because that's usually to protect against fraud. If someone gets your information, they're trying to transfer $1,000 out, they may hit a daily limit. Sorry, you can't have that much money. So good questions to ask. Good questions to ask right there. Many ways to manage your money. Protect your accounts from overdraft fees. An overdraft is a service that allows card users to pay for items even if they don't have the money, but they'll usually charge you for that. It's like, maybe I'll go ahead and pay that $60, even though you only had $50 in the account. But I'm going to charge you a fee for that because I gave you $10 you didn't even have, so I'm going to charge you a fee for that. So the best way to avoid fees, do not spend more than what's in your account. Find a bank who won't charge overdraft fees. That may be harder to do than you think. You can opt out of the service. You can say, okay, don't pay it. If I don't have the money, don't pay it. So I don't get a fee for that. And make sure you monitor your account consistently so you have sight of any fees. You know what fees are coming out of there and all kinds of good stuff. Other ways to protect your account. Check your bank activity regularly. That's the great thing about having the app now. Used to be you had to wait till the end of the month when the bank would mail you a statement. Now I can look on there every hour if I want to. See what's happening with my bank account. Oh, did I pay that? Let me see what's going on here. Keep any receipts you got and compare it. Keep your account details private. The last thing you want is someone having access to your bank account. Here's a good one too, and I do this. Do not store your banking login details on your phone or laptop. You know, when you type in that password and it says, would you like to save this password so you don't have to type it in next time? If it's your bank account, say no. Don't save my bank. Never. Don't save my bank account. Make me type it in every time. Because if somebody else picks up my phone, I don't want them automatically logging into my bank and paying themselves. And you can sign up for account alerts. You can let them know. The bank say, if it's below $100, let me know my balance. If there's a transaction that's being paid that's over this amount, there's something over $200, send me an alert. Send me a text alert. They're like, oh, I didn't pay anything over $200. Then you can contact the bank immediately. There's some fraud. Somebody's stealing money. Set a strong password. Change it frequently. Absolutely. Guard your data. Keep your cards in a safe place. Don't let your debit card be laying around. So you want to grow your future wealth. Good practices. All right. That's good information there. How you can access your money. Again, here's reviewing what we're looking at. Ways to take money out of your account. This is the out part, right? ATM, visit a bank teller, make a purchase, write a check, any of that. What do I have here? Okay, here's a question. With so many ways to get money in or out of account, what are some ways you can keep track of your balance? All right, I just mentioned that. Almost all the banks, I'm not aware of any that don't, have an app where you can check your balance right now, anytime. Why is it important to understand the timing of transactions? Okay, maybe I get paid tomorrow. So tomorrow I get money in there. And right now I've only got $15 in my bank account, but I really have something I got to go buy tonight. I got to pick up this tonight. It's $40. If I write a check, if I do my debit card, it's going to come out of the money almost instantly. So it's going to say, you don't have $40. You can't do this. But what about if I write a check? Maybe if I write a check, it's not going to make it to my bank till tomorrow. I'm going to take it to the person. I'm going to hand them a check. They're going to take it to their bank and deposit it, and then that bank's going to ask my bank for it. So maybe I can do that. Maybe I can write a check for $40, knowing that tomorrow more money will be in my bank account because I get paid tomorrow. But knowing those timings is important. If I use my debit card, I'm going to get hit with an overdraft fee. So understand how quickly money comes out and how quickly is money deposited in. And what role does overdraft protection play? Well, they may go ahead and pay that $40 for me so I don't get, because whoever I paid will be mad too. So, all right, credit unions versus banks. We'll have this discussion. Why are credit unions better than big banks? Because you'll hear about credit unions. They're like a bank. They're very, very similar to a bank. You won't be able to tell the difference, but they operate differently. So let's look at this video.
Ever notice how TV commercials for big banks go really hard on the schmaltz? Loving families, cute babies, sweet old retired people, micro pigs on leashes. It's almost as if they're trying to distract us from something.
Oh, you mean like how in 2016, Wells Fargo admitted to creating 3.5 million fake accounts for customers to collect extra fees and charged over 570,000 people for auto insurance they didn't need, resulting in over 20,000 customers going into default?
And then there's the now infamous practices of Citibank, Lehman Brothers, AIG, and other Wall Street giants of bundling toxic junk assets and repackaging them as AAA super safe investments, which led to a near collapse of the international money system that ordinary people are still hurting from.
And most Americans feel that big banks are rewarded rather than punished for risky and predatory behavior. Bank of America received tens of billions in bailout funds in 2009, only to turn around the very next year and pay $35 billion in executive bonuses.
Not surprisingly, our trust in these institutions is low. A recent Gallup poll showed that only 27% of Americans have confidence in banks. But this is not a new phenomenon. 14th century poet Dante placed moneylenders in the 7th circle of hell, below violent murderers and blasphemers.
So, being suspicious of big banks is nothing new, but what can you do? You've got to stash your cash somewhere. And who can get through life without ever taking a loan or using a credit card?
Thankfully, you do have options. Alternatives to big banks have been around for a while, and if you haven't looked into them yet, it might be time.
One good alternative is a local community bank. Their fees and charges can be lower than national chains, and you can be pretty sure they won't use your money for risky bets or Wall Street gambles. Instead, they tend to make investments in the immediate region, helping to develop projects and businesses that create jobs and improve spaces in your hometown. There are over 52,000 community bank locations nationwide, and you can find ones in your area by checking out the ICBA's website.
Then there are banks that don't rely on physical locations. Online banks like Simple and Chime usually have lower fees, partly due to having no brick and mortar expenses. They also tend to have no account minimums, don't charge overdraft fees, and ATMs are fee-free at tens of thousands of locations.
Both local banks and online-based banks still typically offer FDIC protection on up to $250,000 worth of deposits per person and account type. So for most people, they are just as secure as the big national chains.
You could also choose to ditch banks altogether and open up an account at a credit union. Credit unions allow you to make deposits and withdrawals, take out loans and credit cards, and enjoy most other services you might expect from a bank. But unlike banks, credit unions are all non-profit entities. Any profits made by the credit union are returned to you in the form of reduced fees, higher savings rates, and better loan terms.
This is because credit unions technically don't have customers. They have members. Everyone who keeps their money at a credit union is seen as a part owner of the institution. and they usually all share a common bond. Perhaps they all live in a particular geographic location, work in the same industry, or are all alumni of the same university. One member's deposits end up becoming an auto or business loan for another member. Teamwork.
Credit unions offer FDIC-like protection through the NCUSIF, and most credit unions are part of a national shared branch network, which allows you to utilize thousands of other credit unions, just like they were your own. So depending on your credit union, you could have access to even more ATMs and branches than with a big national bank.
Maybe this all sounds great to you and you're ready to say sayonara to your big bank, but there are a few drawbacks to consider before making the switch.
Because of their size and scope, big banks are better at international banking and lending. Making a withdrawal from abroad or getting a loan in another country can be a tall order for many local banks and credit unions. So if you do a lot of traveling or have a cross-border business, sticking with your big bank might make your life easier.
Also, smaller banks and credit unions usually can't compete with the big banks' digital offerings. So if things like banking apps, budgeting software, and online accounting tools are important to you, be sure to inquire about the technological support they offer.
Even though these advantages come from big banks' huge size, in their ads they often go out of their way to portray themselves as homey, familiar, even rustic. It's as if they're saying little organizations are more trustworthy.
So if you find these commercials persuasive, maybe you should check out the smaller organizations in your neighborhood.
And that's our 2 cents.
All right. So that kind of gives you a big look at banking and credit union. And there are lots. We have big national banks in our area. You got Chase Bank and some of these other banks. We also have the small community banks we're talking, like Arvest is a community bank. It's only in a few states just right around us. It started locally. And then there's like Arkansas Bank, Arkansas State Bank, those things. Those are small community banks, so they're different than the big ones. But yeah, some of the big banks are they get in trouble for these risky investments and big nationwide thing. Wells Fargo, you hear all those names, all that kind of stuff. Isabel's talking about Visa in federal court, so you got to kind of watch that. But you need to be able to trust a bank somewhere. So maybe you can go to a credit union, a small community bank, or if the big bank works for you. Reasons to open a checking account. 10 reasons to open a checking account. One thing is a way to keep your money safe. So it doesn't no one steals it from your house. You don't lose it. It doesn't get destroyed. You got more options for paying. Maybe you need that debit card, being able to write a check rather than have to send someone cash. That's pretty hard to do sometimes, paying things with cash. Dealing with checks is just easier. Paying bills is a breeze because you can do it online. I can just say, hey, send the money to this person. Here's my account number. Here's their address. I don't even have to write a check. I have checks that are sent automatically out of my bank account every month. There's also a nice paper trail. If I paid you, I can prove it. That's the worst thing when you end up and someone, hey, you never paid for that. Yeah, I did. Well, if I gave you cash, it's going to be hard to prove if I don't have a receipt. If I wrote a check, I can go in my bank account and here's the check I wrote you. And look, you signed it on the back and cashed it. I paid you. That's a big help. There's no transaction limits with checking accounts. Generally, savings account, yes. Checking account, no. Make it easier to manage your money. Offer more features than digital wallets. You can get cash from ATMs when you need cash. And then there's lots of member-specific benefits. Like Arvest added benefits this summer to where now, if you have flat tires, you can get roadside service because you're an Arvest customer. And they'll send a tow truck out to, your car. So why open a checking account? Lots of good reasons. Which four would benefit you personally the most? I'm not going to take a lot of time on this, but I'm just listing some. So you might think, oh yeah, I could really use making paying bills easier, that type of thing. All right, no time to let's see. Reasons to open a checking account. What is the benefit of making sure your account is FDIC, or if it's a credit union, the NCUA insured? Because your money's protected. If the bank fails, and there hasn't been many banks failed lately, but it does happen, they'll reimburse you for any deposit you have in there up to $250,000. Now let's look at, before we get out of here today, understanding a bank statement. So how to read your bank statement, why it's important to do so. So this is a very short video. This is actually a video from Arvest. It was interesting. It was in our curriculum, but I didn't know Arvest created it until I looked at it today.
Your monthly bank statements provide a range of information about your account. Whether you receive your statement by mail or as an e-statement, it's important to review your statement each month to confirm you and your bank are aligned on the transactions that took place during the past 30 days and to make sure there are no errors or questionable charges on your account. Looking at your bank statement, you'll notice the statement period in the upper right-hand corner. Below that are phone numbers for customer service and other online resources. Note your balance at the beginning of that month, the number and amount of credits and debits, your ending monthly balance, and any service fees. A detailed list of every transaction involving your account will be listed on the following pages. Review the date, vendor, location, and amount to make sure there's nothing out of the ordinary. If you see a mistake anywhere on your bank statement, contact your bank immediately so they can look into it. Your bank also will post any notices or changes to terms and conditions on your monthly statement. To make sure your statements are as accurate as possible, track your account activity when you make a purchase or deposit money into your account. Then compare your list with your monthly statement. Be sure to keep all of your transaction receipts, ATM, debits, and deposits until you have reconciled your account with your monthly statement. Your bank statements are a convenient way to ensure your account is in order, so be sure to review them thoroughly.
All right. There it is, a nice little friendly help from Arvest. I want to show you a bank statement. Let's kind of review some of the things you'll see in it. Our assignment this week has questions looking at the bank statement. So, all right, here's my checking accounts. Yeah, there's my name. I got all my money in Bob's Bank. It's just a little local bank. I really trust Bob, so this is Bob's Bank. But when you look at this, one thing, there's usually somewhere there'll be the statement period. It tells you what period of time this statement is there. Are there formats and to keep track of finances? You can download them everywhere, actually. I don't have one here in Google Classroom, but so this is an everyday checking account. You can see the beginning balance is up here. It also has it, as the previous balance. This is where I started July, right there, previous balance. And then it'll show all the transactions I did. Direct deposit, teacher payroll. So there's I got paid. And then I spent money at the grocery store with my debit card. And then my utility, my electric bill, online payment, fuel station. I used my debit card at the gas pump. Mobile phone, automatically paid my cell bill. All kinds of stuff. Direct deposit again. There's another teacher payroll. Sam's Club return refund, took something back. So you see that shows up as a deposit because I took something back, and when they credit it back, it shows up deposit, where this is the money that comes out of my account. Now look here, I get towards the end of the month, flowers for Mrs. Brock. Obviously I did something really bad because I spent $3,000 in flowers, so I didn't have to sleep in the doghouse. But if you'll notice, I only had this much money, so I went negative $23. I spent more money than was in the bank account. So I got charged an overdraft fee. That's where they went ahead and paid it, but they charged me $35. So now I'm negative $58. And then I deposited some cash in there of $90. So you can see I start the month with this, end up with this, and you can go through each transaction and see how it affects. When this auto pay, this $92, that's subtracted. The balance before was that, and now it's that. It goes down. The other thing I wanted to point out, when you have a checking account or when you get a checking account, there's also this page. You'll see this page when you get your account statement. It's like, man, look at all that. There's a lot of important information on there. This tells basically all about their accounts. Like this has the minimum deposit needed to open. We're talking about that. Like if it's just a basic checking account, you have to have $25 to open the account or a special account. But if you want a premium account, it's a $500 deposit to start that account. Monthly fees. Some checking accounts, like the basic account, they have a $0 basic account. But $9.95 for the special and $15 for the premium. But there's probably other things those accounts do. The premium may even earn some interest. Requirements to waive the monthly maintenance fee. Now, a lot of times, like it's $9.95, but if I've got $10,000 in my bank account, they won't charge me the $9.95. In this one, if I have $15,000, they won't charge me the $15 every month. Is it interest bearing? See, these two will pay you interest. Not much. It's probably less than 1%, but it'll pay you some for those two accounts. ATM fees, nothing, as long as you use one of their ATMs. If it's outside their network, then they charge you $3 in the US, $5 outside the US, plus 3% of whatever money you get, and $2 per balance inquiry. If you go to an ATM and say, how much money do I have in the bank? They'll charge you $2 to tell you for that. Non-sufficient funds. This is where if you try to pay a check for more than you have, they'll charge you $37. You don't have that much money in your bank account, we're charging you $37. Or if you make a deposit, somebody gives you a check, you put it in your bank, and it bounces because they didn't have that much money, they'll charge you $20 for trying to deposit money that wasn't there. There's a stop payment fee. Maybe you write a check and you find out you got scammed. Oh my gosh, that was a scam. So you can go stop. You can go to the bank and say, don't pay that check. Don't pay that check. But they'll charge you $35 to do that. So this is just a good place to find all the different fees and stuff that they charge just to make you aware. So you know that kind of stuff. So, all right. Here's the last thing I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the assignment for this week because that's good to know. If you go, I've changed this week. I've put it informative this week. So if you go, put the videos that we looked at in class in here. QR assignment, week 3. This is week 3. If you click on this, it'll take you to formative. You may have to log in if you haven't been there recently and logged in already. But here is our assignment. Once it loads. QR assignment week 3. Which of the following is true about cognitive biases? Multiple choice. Andrew wants to buy a specific model of new car. Which cognitive bias might be affecting him? What's 2 advantages of having an account at a local bank instead of a national bank? Select both answers. This has 2 answers. Both answers. And when you deposit at a bank, the money's insured up to $250,000 by the FDIC. True or false? Which question should you ask when you open an account? Choose all the correct answers. Which are good, and we had that in our lesson. What's good things to ask? And I will load the slides in there too, so you'll have the notes. All of these are good reasons to open a checking account, except that means you're picking the one that's not a good reason. Right? One of those is not a good reason. Daisy reads her bank statement, finds an error. What should she do? That was in the video that Arvest had. And then here's a bank statement. And if you need to see it bigger, you can click on that little zoom in and it'll get bigger so you can read it more. But here's questions about that bank statement over here on the right. So you got several questions about that bank statement. So can you read the statement? Can you answer that? How frequently do they get statements? Well, look at that. How much did he have on his account on the first day? What was his beginning balance? He has 2 ATM transactions, but only one of them has a fee. It's the one from Interact. Why is the Interact one have a fee and the other one not? So, all right, 15 questions this week. 15 questions for this class. If you have any trouble, you can come see me in class Wednesday. I'll be here. You can come say, okay, I'm working on this, and I'm confused on this bank statement question. Can you help me figure that out? Absolutely. I'd be happy to go over it with you and help you understand that if you are confused and looking at it. But otherwise, man, we made it through everything that I had prepared. I wasn't sure we would, but there was a lot of good stuff there. I'll give you the last few minutes of class if you want to get started on this now. But anyway, good stuff today. Thanks for your participation. So I'll have the notes loaded up here in just a minute. And otherwise, you guys have a great week. I'll be here Wednesday if you got questions or need me. But I think everyone's okay for now.